Welcome to The Metal Voice. Today on the show, the one, the only, Ross, the boss. Ross, what's going on, man?
Hey, man. Greetings from the Czech Republic, brothers and sisters.
So, let's start off right away. I mean, you re-recorded a Manowar classic, just released it to sort of entice people to get out on the tour in Europe. So you want to tell me about that?
Yeah, we released it yesterday, AFM.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to, make a statement and show the band off what they sound like. Just a little teaser of a classic track, and the way we do it, it's amazing.
You had Ross the Boss, which released 2 albums. Then you have the Ross the Boss Band.
Well, it's the same thing, actually. I did my solo work. I started in 2008 on AFM. New Metal Leader, 2010 Hailstorm with the German guys. And then we kind of went our ways, and I continued to work. I joined Death Dealer. We've made records, working on the 3rd record. Now I have my new lineup. We're out on tour now with the new lineup. I have Rhino on drums, ex-Manowar. Mike LaPond on bass from Symphony X, who's a genius. And our new singer, Mark Lopes, is an absolutely great singer. He's really shot out of a cannon, this guy, and he really brings a great metal game to the band.
What I like about the new singer is he's a little more grittier, right, than your typical clean, high vocals, right? He's a little more grittier, which gives it a little more attitude. Am I correct in the statement?
I would say so. I think he's more, he's got other influences. Manowar is not his only, was never, as he was a fan of Manowar, he wasn't he was a fan of other bands, and he has other different influences. So I think that's a good thing. I think it gives us a little modern edge to it. I'm really happy with Mark. He's a fantastic singer. He's a great guy. And, you need great, positive people on the road with you.
Yeah. So tell me, all right, so we got this new song. Is there a new album being recorded?
Well, actually, there is. We're in the process of it. For me, it's like pulling teeth because I've done so many of them. It's not the easiest thing to get a full CD together. I'm not complaining about it. I've done 30 records, but it's honestly, I want to do it, but I wish I didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
The Rolling Stones don't have to do it, but I guess I have to do it. Metal, you have to do it.
Do you have a time frame, like when you're planning on releasing a new album? About?
Well, it's going to be before the end of this year. We want to do it. We're on tour now. We're going to be a month together here in Europe. We're going to start a songwriting. We have a few tunes, and we're going to continue to work on the songs during the sound checks. And Mark has a computer. Mark has the devices to do stuff here. So, listen, we want to make a great album. I know this band is going to make an amazing record, and the tunes so far are really great. So I'm not really worried about it.
How about a live album, sort of like to bridge the gap between, the new and the old? Are you recording?
Hey, that's all right. It's just to set up for that. It's just hard.
Okay.
You might do it. That's not a bad idea.
So as I'm asking you questions about your life, I got fan questions. Dean wants to know, how was your time with the Dictators? And how much were you influenced by metal as you transitioned into Manowar?
Well, that's a very good question. And as you know, the Dictators are still together. The Dictators are still playing a lot. Just so that you know, when I come home from this month in Europe, I have 4 days in the city, and we go back right to Europe with the Dictators for 18 shows in a row. So the Dictators itself have never broken up, have always been together. We've been killing Europe for a long time now. We have a new lineup, new guitar player, new bass player. Everyone asked me that same question. How could you go from a band like the Dictators into something, inventing the Dictators, and then inventing a band like Manowar? with Joey. So I mean, I don't know how I did it. I don't know how we did it, but we had a lot of influences. We were on tour with Black Sabbath. We were highly motivated when I met Joey, and Ronnie Dio introduced me to Joey, as a matter of fact. And so I was opening for Black Sabbath in a band called Shakin' Street, by the way. The Dictators is just an amazing thing. People just they still can't get it. How I hop genres.
Ronnie James Dio, like I remember, you were with Black Sabbath in the Heaven and Hell, right? That's the era that you were actually opening for Black Sabbath. Any cool stories with Ronnie James Dio?
James Dio actually is responsible for creating Manowar. I told that at the Rock and Roll, at the Heavy Metal Hall of History induction when I got inducted in January. I'm in a French band. After the Dictators took a hiatus after the 3 records, I landed a job in this French band, Shakin' Street, because my manager, Sandy Perlman, who managed BOC and actually then managed Black Sabbath at the time, he put Shakin' Street on as opening act for Black Sabbath. And it's Ronnie Dio's first tour as singer of Black Sabbath, Heaven and Hell. So I'm like there, I'm like, oh my God, I'm in my glory. I'm like playing with my idols. I can't fucking believe it. You know, it's like, wow. Yeah. It's just like, I can't fucking believe it. And so Ronnie comes up to us. We did a sound check, I think we were in Birmingham or one of the English cities, Newcastle. I think it was Newcastle. Ronnie Dio, I finished the sound check, turn around, Ronnie Dio is standing there, the great man, and he goes, Ross, man, hey, man, great guitar playing. I love it. I love the Dictators. I know all about the rock and roll, New York City rock and punk rock. I said, I'm sure you do, brother. He's a very smart guy. He was incredibly knowledgeable about the scene and everything. He goes, you know what? I have a guy on my crew. He's with Doc, the equipment guy, and he's helping him, but he plays bass, and I think you should go over and meet him. And I go, yes, sir. Yes, boss. No problem. It just, for some reason, it just clicked, you know. So as soon as thank you, Ronnie, so much, I love you, blah, 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 blah. So I walk away from him and I go seek Joey out. And, yeah, man, Ronnie says you play bass. And he goes, yeah, I do. And you want to, how can we do this? Like, you want to jam or something? So we went into Black Sabbath's dressing room, and they had their warm-up gear up. They had their, warm-up amps and everything. There was a bass there, and I had a guitar. And we started jamming. We felt nothing to be jamming in Black Sabbath's dressing room. We're here. Blasting away, and, some sparks were going off between me and Joey. And amazing thing that when and so we continued this, the next show, and we're in their dressing rooms. Black Sabbath is on stage, right? You got to know these Odeons, all the dressing rooms are upstairs, and then you can look out onto the stage. All these dressing rooms are upstairs. We're blasting away on these amps, and Black Sabbath stops playing, and we're still playing up there. It's loud as fuck, and they're looking up there. What the hell's going on up there? He's a motherfucking hell. Tony's like, fucking hell. And Ronnie goes, it's Joey and Ross.
That's pretty
cool.
And
they just, story. It was really, and it happened a lot. Happened 2 or 3 times.
And also a lot of people seem to forget, or not forget, but not talk so much about, you produced Anthrax's Soldier of Metal. And that was the demo that, brought them, more attention to Johnny Z to want to be motivated to record the first album. Can you tell me about that experience?
Well, when Manowar first started playing back in New York, played in Staten Island, we did a bunch of runs. It was 83. It was before Into Glory Ride, right when we just recorded it. We did a couple of shows, and Anthrax was the opening act. We found Anthrax was the opening act. Johnny Z promoted these shows, World War III, and he did a couple of shows. And Anthrax was the opening band, and I became really good friends with Scott. And, as it went, they asked me to, if I could produce a single or something. And I got them gear. I had a Marshall endorsement. I got them a whole bunch of gear. And Marshall heads, bottoms, a ton of shit. And I recorded that, Soldiers of Metal. It was Neil Turbin, Danny Lilker, Danny Spitz, then a different band, but Charlie and Scott. And yeah, I thought it was very good. Soldiers of Metal, it came out great. And they, all of a sudden, they springboarded, to a record, into label, the Anthrax we know.
Manowar is picking up steam in America. Back in the day, you get together with Joey, you put the band together. You're getting a lot of hype, right? The band's doing well, album after album. I mean, what album was the peak, you would say?
Well, we put out Battle Hymns in May 1982. We got dropped from EMI. It was just for things to come with record labels. We went on to Music for Nations and Megaforce, that was John Z, and put out Into Glory Ride. And then we did, people started really paying attention to that record, and then we did Hail to England, Music for Nations, and we went to, it was because we went to England, because we were getting so much amazing press from England. So we wrote a song, Hail to England, so, But the record was great. It got a lot of tremendous reviews, and finally we got to England on the third record, got to Europe, and things really started to happen for the band. Then we signed to Virgin Records. We did Sign of the Hammer, another great record. All the records that I did were great, and I will say that without even thinking twice. All of a sudden, we found ourselves back in the States. We got signed to Atlantic. We put out Fighting the World. A lot of people think there was a more commercial dab. Then Kings of Metal. And Kings of Metal was the biggest record.
Why did you leave? Why did you guys part ways? What happened? I mean, what was the whole dynamics here?
Well, here's a problem. When you have a partner, it's almost like a marriage, And I thought the band going in a certain direction. Joey was taking the band in a certain direction, and I didn't like it. He was just making all the decisions. Just everything had to go his way. And I'm a street kid from the Bronx, and I have a different take on things. And put it this way, I was asked to leave. I did not quit Manowar. I know it's out there. I know he put out this lie out there, but believe me, I did not quit Manowar. I was asked to leave right before the band's biggest record came out. As far as I'm concerned, it was the biggest mistake, second biggest mistake in rock and roll history. The first big mistake was Mick Taylor quitting the Rolling Stones. That was come on, right? And the second one was DeMeo asking Ross the Boss, his partner, to leave the band.
Couldn't you refuse? Couldn't you say, no, well, you get out of the band. We're partners in this.
I could have, but by about then I just had enough. You see, I didn't start playing music to be unhappy. Yeah. Rather than fight with him and fight with everybody, I said, get the fuck, goodbye. Problem was the band lived in Auburn. The band exists. The band lives in Auburn, New York. That's western New York by Syracuse, and I live in New York City. There was no way I was going to remain in Auburn. I had to come back and forth. But listen, it's Joey's thing. It's his mess. Now.
Would you get back together with the band if they asked you, guys? Would you do it?
I've always said, I've always put out there in my life that I would always play with my friends. Okay, I consider Eric my friend. I consider Donnie my friend. I don't know about Joey, but it's his decision. He knows my phone number. He knows where I am. In the meantime, they could retire, and I'm playing, because they're retiring. They could retire, and I will be playing. My band plays the songs in the correct key. We don't tune down a whole step. We play the songs the way they were created to be played, the way we wrote those songs to be played. Once you drop tuning on a song, you take the energy completely out. You strip the energy right out of the song.
So you're saying basically that if Joey did call you and he said, look, let's do this, you're in. At least that's what I'm
He
hearing.
was in, but it would have to be, it would have to be a little different. Poor Eric. I mean, he can't sing the way he used to sing. That's why they dropped the tuning down. My singer doesn't sing that. My singer sings in full A440, in standard pitch, the way those songs were written. The songs don't lose energy and body in lower tunings.
Yeah,
we do it correctly. You can hear it. You can hear it on the recording, right?
No, absolutely. I'm 100% agreement with you. I guess, it's just, you get older as a singer and, there's nothing really you can do about it, right?
He's an amazing singer. Eric is fantastic. I mean, believe me, all my singers idolize him, and they should. We worship him, Eric Adams. But now he can't sing like that. I mean, when he was at his peak, he was the best.
Yeah, definitely.
And well, listen, whatever could happen, could happen. You never know. I never say never, because bigger differences, bigger squabbles, bigger fights have been patched up in rock and roll and in business. So, look at this past election, right? So, people that once fought each other are now working together. So, anything can happen, and I will never say never.
Okay. Now, James wants to know, any chance of a Canadian tour?
Well, we're looking into, metal in the Northeast is it's kind of deflated. We're looking for a good package to sling together like 3 strong bands, and playing to go play. So I'm saying, yeah, Canada would be great to do. Also, we were looking to play with the Dictators again in Canada.
Mark, your favorite Manowar album you played on?
Mine?
Yeah, yours.
Hail to England.
And why?
I don't know. It just seems like I don't know. Today it's Hail to England. Of course, it's the first one. It's got to be Battle Hymns, but I would say Hail to England is the I don't know. I just love the way the solos came out on Hail to England.
Hall of Heavy Metal History. You got an award. I think it was about 2 months back. Actually, the Metal Voice was there. We covered it live. We had Sean Peck walking around with a live stream, if you remember or not. So that was actually me. Okay.
Was that you?
Well, I was on the other end of it all.
Oh, okay.
You didn't see me. That was Sean Peck who was walking around with the camera for me, or the phone for me. And I don't know, what's your thoughts on the Hall of Heavy? Should this thing continue? I mean, I thought it was incredible. I thought it was amazing. I mean, how does it feel getting that award?
Oh, well, the whole concept of it, the whole concept of it is absolutely incredible. There's so many great metal people, so dedicated, lifers that need to be recognized by a certain body. I think it's about time, because, like, if you're counting on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you might as well fucking forget it. That ain't gonna happen. So I think that it's a great thing. Pat Gesualdo is a great guy. I think he's got a vision for things, and I was so honored that I was in the first class inductees, along with Randy Rhoads and Lemmy and Vinny and Carmine Appice, and the owners of the Rainbow Bar, Zildjian, Symbols, and that's why that's a good thing, because the people in the industry will be acknowledged and given honor and given their mention and their due. I think it's important, and there's so many metal guys and ladies and people that deserve to be in, and they're going to be in. So it's going to be bigger next year. There's more corporate interest. Fantastic. Wendy Dio did a great job on it. More money to be raised for her charity, for Ronnie's cancer. And so I think it's a win-win situation. Everybody had a great time. There was a great media reaction. So next year will be onward and upward and bigger and better.
Anything you want to say before we leave you?
Yeah, sure. I want to say thank you for all your interest, and thank you for your love of heavy metal and rock and roll, and I want everyone to be well and be dedicated to the music and support young bands, support the young bands coming up. That's the lifeblood of music. We need young metal bands. You know, no matter what kind of style they play, they should be given their support.
All right, man.
So,
Perfect.
yeah.
Well, we wait for you to come to Canada one day as Ross the Boss Band. So, anyways, until then, thank you very much, and catch you next time on The Metal Voice.
Hail and kill.